Good day, good afternoon, good evening everyone, this is ViperAS returning with episode 2 of the Grim Dawn Let's Play. Now if you look at your minimap, you'll notice the people are circles, which is cool, but they don't necessarily show you which ones have quests. We can open that because we did the quest for this guy, and I believe there's a woman in here who has another quest. It's not one we'll be doing for a little ways, but it's good to pick up as many quests as you can, because I don't think there's a limit to the quests you can have, no. So you may as well pick them all up, and as you complete them, it'll just keep going. You also get this guy over here, who is pretty much a shared stash. You have an item stash, but you also have the item transfer, which is the shared stash. I could put these parts in there, or not. I guess not everything is transferable. There you go. I could put those in there. Oh, quest items must not be. I could put that there, pick it up on another character. It's kind of a standard thing these days to have a shared stash, but it's nice that they did it. Not every game does, though as a self-proclaimed loot whore, I'm glad more action RPGs are picking up on that. So you also notice on the map these guys with stars. Those are usually quest objectives, so since my quest is to help out two people, one of them is this guy, one of them is this guy up here, they are marked with stars. Usually, if you see a star on the map, it's where you're supposed to go. Pretty simple. Not too outrageous. And so now we have to help two separate people. One wants us to collect aether crystals, which we've been doing by punching those crystals. We've already got 2 in the bags, and once we get 4, we just return to this guy. Oh. Bad habits from Diablo. Spacebar closes all the menus in Diablo 3. In this game, it's a pause. Very handy to have. You might notice I went back to the burial cave. I did this because I know there's quite a few more aether crystals in here. There's also some outside, so you don't have to come back here. You can go wherever you want. They're common enough you're going to get your 4 without any real issue. And they're even, I believe, marked on the map. The other guy, what did he want? He wants scraps. Scraps are kind of a random thing. They're around some of the different areas. Enemies can drop them. But it's not always like an easy to farm thing. So once I get the aether crystals, I may fast forward through doing the scraps and just do that off camera and show back up at 5, unless they start dropping pretty quickly. They seem, from my experience, to drop more commonly. I should punch the crystal first, like I said to do. They seem to drop more frequently from breakable objects instead of enemies. I know the quest objective says they can drop from enemies, and I've seen it happen, but it seems to be more common. I forgot to do the level. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, and the next level we've got the Hellhound. And we'll put our points... Oh, I had already done the points, that's what I did. Okay, I did it backwards. There's another exit to this place, and you could go there. It's just another path. I'm not going to worry about it right now, but if you're going to explore everything, go ahead. That's cool too. And we're looking for... I don't want to go down there yet. More aether crystals. I should point out, the enemies in this game loosely scale to your level. It's not perfect, but even if you go back to the zone that had like level 1 enemies a minute ago, now that I'm level 5, they're going to be a higher level. There's still probably going to be more of a pushover than higher level areas, but it has a certain amount of scaling. I'm going to open up the personal rift again and turn this in, and then probably do some off-camera scrap farming, because that is not the quickest thing to do. So we give this to this guy, and I believe he does. He gives us an extra skill point. And he asks us to do a follow-up quest to find his apprentice, which we won't get to for a little while. The follow-up point we can put right there, and get our Hellhound. Hellhound not only does a sizable amount of damage, when it dies, if it dies, it does a 3.5 meter radius explosion for extra damage. I've only seen it die once so far. Not to say it can't happen, especially as difficulty ramps up, but I haven't seen it happen too much. And now I'm kind of just going to wander these areas. I'll pop back in for important things, if any cool loot drops for levels. But real quick, I also want to show off this Hellhound just it should just one-shot things. Well, I guess not yet. Maybe I need more points into it. It was doing very well before. It could also be because I did a lot of points into Spirit. But the thing is, it's another target. It's just gonna take hits, do damage. I like pet classes in general. Ooh, better hat. Okay. So, I'm gonna go about destroying Aether Crystals, sweeping this area, and getting scrap. And I will pop back in for anything interesting that happens along the way. Here we go. First piece of... I don't know exactly what they call it in this game, but it's the magic item. It would have a little less armor, but a little more health, and it's got this yellowish color. They definitely become more and more common as the game goes on, as basic magical items tend to do, but early on, it's something to definitely keep your eye on, especially because I just like having more health. The bit of armor loss is a little sad, but more health, to me, is always a better choice. That's just my philosophy. So keep an eye out for those yellow named items. In the old dump, the zone that's right after the graveyard, there is this cave that you can enter, and it's an optional cave, and it has this kind of poisonous water, which isn't super obvious to look at, but it's obvious when you notice your health bar. If you stand in the low ground of this cave, you're going to constantly take damage. Stand on the high ground, where it's high and dry like here, and you're fine. You just gotta punch enemies. Okay, I got it. I did forget to do that, though. I forgot to put my attribute points. So hopefully, I'm gonna show this cave, because this is a optional side area. It should have some type of boss at the end of it, which should drop some better loot, as bosses in these games tend to do. The last time I came through here on my first character, it actually had 2 bosses. Oh, and a level. Let me finish off this group of things and not stand in poison. And I will do that level real quick. From here, you have a few choices. I'll show you what I did and what I'm probably going to do, but I'll also show you what seems to be... Oh, never mind, we got a boss here. Yeah, we'll do him first. But I don't want to stand in the water, and I like to kill minions first. It's always been my philosophy. But your boss fighting tactics may differ. Sadly, I didn't get to do the level yet, so I don't have any extra abilities. I'm just kind of gonna... Do I have no potions left? Oh, that could be bad. I'm gonna open up a rift in case I need it, which I may in a minute. You can also, keep in mind, stay out of combat to get your passive regeneration up. Alright, come on, finish off little guys. The bosses seem to always be at least a level or 2 higher than whatever you are. I've yet to see a, named boss. Oh, come on, I just need... Let's, do this. Oh, I have 2, wow. So close. That's why you open the rift first, so you can just go back. That's actually my first time dying, so I have no idea if the guy heals up or not, but we're just gonna go back. Once you go back through your personal rift, it does close. Never mind, it doesn't. So it looks like you have to pick up your body. They had experience. It didn't look like I lost any weapons or anything. He did not heal, but I do have to resummon my pets and finish this guy off. Then I will show the level real quick. Sweet, polished. More of those pieces. Alright, so from here, what I did last time, what I'm probably going to do this time, is pump up the Hellhound a bit. But you also have a few choices for other abilities to use. You have a Suicide, summon this evil eye and explodes. Curse of Frailty, which is just debuff curse. What I like, the Bloody Pox, not as useful earlier on, and I actually took it before getting the extra summon my first time, and it's not that great, but it's like a spreading dot that not only does damage, but it reduces their health by a percentage, which is really nice. So I'm probably going to put a point into that, or I might try this one. Looks good. AoE does damage, and it returns health to you. So I'm probably going to do 2 more points into that guy, and 1 into that. Oh, I guess I got 2 levels. I want to get this guy to at least 5, and then I'm going to start pumping up 2 new abilities. There's a new Crow ability, which is very nice, and a new Dog ability at a considerably higher level, which is also nice. So we've allocated points. We have put that on the right click. Does it have a cooldown? 12-second cooldown. Okay, so now we've got an AoE, gets health back and do damage. I'm going to check the right hand side of this cave in case there is... Nope, small cave. Just had that one boss, and pretty simple. It probably would have been a lot better if I had leveled up my dog, which I should resummon, and done stuff like that. Now I'm going to go back to the scrap hunt, because I still have... Oh, before that, let's just sort this real quick. So we've got a new... These are the caster weapons. Oh no, caster like shield, never mind. I'm not going to use it yet, because I don't need the, like, mana regeneration yet, because I don't have, like, a mana dump for damage at the moment. Oh, come on. And we've got a bit more physique, which is, of course, basically strength. And the rest of the stuff irrelevant for the moment. I'm going to sort it and go back about my scrap hunt. Here we go. So, items you can find on the ground called junk piles will pretty much guarantee a scrap. I don't think I've ever found a junk pile that didn't have a scrap in it. And scrap will have a use after... Oh, wow, another junk pile. I take it back. Junk piles sometimes don't have scraps. I got unlucky. Scraps will have a use after this quest. So if you find more, it's not a bad thing at all. It's actually kind of good. So, okay, here's something else I was going to show. So, now we will have 3 searing embers, right? Now it's a complete component searing ember. I try and get this pretty early because it gives you a mana dump for pretty much free. You have to be player level 7, which we are, and it goes on either weapons, shields, or offhands. I'm going to put it on the shield for now because our weapon is still the one we started with, and I just got a slightly better shield. You could wait until you had like a yellow one or whatnot, but I'd rather do this now. So, I'm going to put that there, ask to confirm, and what that does, it gives us Fire Blast. And I'm going to put the sigil consumption here. So now, while my pets are fighting, I can just stand back, hold shift, and right-click on things. And I now have a damaging attack that I believe scales with Spirit. If it doesn't, then I must be hallucinating, because I swear my damage went up the more points into Spirit I put the last time I was playing. So, yeah. I would definitely recommend doing this as early as you can, because it's not a skill you can level up, so it's not something that's going to get drastically better, though it does seem to scale with fire damage and with your spirit. It's a good thing to get early to have that ranged damage and spirit dump. If you're going to have all this spirit and energy, it's nice to be able to just spam click things. It does, I believe, AoE damage, and it does burn damage. So it has an initial hit, and then it will actually burn for more damage. Again, as an early game skill, this seems to be a quick and easy way to get damage without having to rely on your weapon or punch things in the face. So I would recommend it pretty strongly. And now I'm going to go back to the scrap hunt. While I'm back at town selling, the salvage guy will sell some certain components. They tend to be a bit expensive, but if I already had like 2 polished emeralds and I just needed that last one, I could buy it. Or if you have an excess of money, you can just buy one when you're around, and eventually you'll get 3 because he tends to sell the same ones. So it's something to keep in mind. So it's worth noting, if you're having trouble finding the scrap, you can exit to the main menu and reload the game to give your world a little like soft reset and respawn all the enemies, which is what I just did because I was having bad luck, and I may have checked online to make sure. Really just says they can drop from enemies and breakables, so just go through if you're having problems finding it. If you're really getting bored with it, you can continue on and do other quests. Since it can drop from kind of anything, you can do other side quests. Like you can continue on and try and get the amulet for that quest. I'm still going to keep trying to do this scrap off camera to get that done with, but there are alternatives if you don't feel like just sitting and farming. I'm okay with it because I keep leveling and I keep getting items. In fact, on this level, what was it that I decided to do before? I was going to do, I guess, I'm going to get them to 6 and then start going forward to unlock new things. You kind of get that balance of whether you want to unlock new abilities or if you want to level up the abilities you already have unlocked. I like to do a little bit of both. I haven't maxed out any abilities yet on my other character, but I don't know, maybe that's the better way of doing it. I don't know, I'm still pretty new to this game, but it's worked out okay for me thus far. And back to scrap farming I go. Oh, and since I reset this, soft reset the map anyway, and I'm clearing through, just as scrap become helpful even after the quest, those aether crystals also still become useful after the quest. So, if you notice one of those, it's well worth not running by and actually killing the crystal to pick up the loot. Definitely worth the time. Alright, so going back to that burial cave got me the last scrap I was looking for. And so we bring it back to this guy down here. I don't remember his name, but he needed scrap to fix the water. And of course, as is usually the case, something goes wrong. Oops, didn't mean to move away. So he sends you into the sewers to root out the problem that is poisoning the water. It would be a good idea if you've been out adventuring to sell first, however. Ooh, there you go. Energy regenerated per second and energy absorbed from enemy spells. So it's going to have less armor, but it's going to let me spam cast my fun little fireball a bit more. You will eventually start finding caster armor with more frequency, which is pretty nice. Ah, and a better weapon. Some physical damage. Not that I'm punching things, but for now, may as well keep it around. And let's read that real quick for the free experience, and combine those and those. And there we go. Alright, so, pretty easy to find. It's marked with a star anyway, but you just open the trapdoor and head down. This is a two map dungeon, I believe. The first one is not the one with the boss, and then the second one is. The boss, if you have a way to get any cold resist, it will make the boss easier. The boss does a ton of cold damage and in fact freezes you. So, if you have the capability to get something with frost resist, which I don't, it's well worth doing so. So if you happen to pick up any yellow items, I mean, it's not gonna... It's so early in the game, it's clearly not meant to be, like, required at this point. But, if you happen to find some, it's well worth holding on to for this. It will probably make it a little bit easier. That said, having energy regeneration, a fireball, a pet, and an ability to do damage over time and steal life back, probably going to make it go pretty smooth. I did not have that area thing when I did this last time, and we got another level. I wanted to get to that point and get a single point for now into Storm Spirit. That lets our little birdie... Oh, hold on. Let me save myself. And you may notice you're just going to keep killing the soldiers that you need eventually. Lets the bird put a buff on a player. Presumably it'll work on other players too when multiplayer is enabled. It costs the bird some energy, gives you some elemental damage, some percentage elemental damage, percentage elemental resist, and a chance to do pretty much lightning thorns damage. So, usually the bird will cast it on you. There's no way to manually do it. It's just kind of going to do it on its own, and when it does, you'll see a little buff icon down there. Makes it pretty obvious. It looks like the layout of the sewers is always about the same. I haven't spent enough time in this game to know how randomized the maps are in any way, if they are, if they're not. It looks like this map is definitely the same though. This is the same layout that I went through just a few hours ago, really. And you don't have to, I think the correct way is up there. I'm backtracking a bit just because there seem to be a bunch of soldiers and for that little oomph of experience. You could, of course, rush the boss, which is never a bad plan either. I'm also kind of hoping maybe a little bit of frost resist gear drops, but we'll see. And I haven't been using it much because, again, my pet has been taking a lot of the damage. But if I were to need to, I could just cast that thing under where enemies are going to be. It'll hit them for damage, drain a bit of it back to me, and I'm going the right way, yes. And yeah, it's just seems to be a good thing to have. I'm probably going to grab it on my non-streaming character, because it seems pretty handy. I'm not going to lie. And by farming those scraps, I have gained quite a few of my potions back that I wasted spent, I guess, before getting that killing spell. So this thing here, untouched meal. These are always going to be in the same places of a map, and if you leave a map and come back, they seem to respawn. These fill up your... It gives you a false message there. Fill up your, what is it, conviction? I don't remember. That bar, your health regen bar. So they're marked on the map with little like grayed out circles instead of the blue ones that are used for like player characters. It's worth keeping an eye out and noticing where they are because, you know, filling that bar could be helpful if you're a class that doesn't use pets and, you know, gets hit and all that fun stuff. Well worth keeping an eye out. Oh wait, there's a side room. I would always like to check because there you go. Oh, a hatchet, not the greatest of loots, but you never know. RNG is not always nice, and early in these types of games you tend to get mostly bad loot. You also notice down here we're going to start getting spiders, which do poison damage, which is, I haven't noticed it to be too detrimental. And we should start getting, I don't remember what they're called, but they're basically lizard people, which are the ones that are actually poisoning the water. And they do, they have two variants. They have the up-close and personal guys, the warriors, and they have the ranged people that lob balls of ice at you, which don't seem to be in this particular room. But when I spot one, I think there's a few around the boss. And the boss should have a room in the center. If you go left or you go right, doesn't matter. Both paths are going to lead you to the boss room. I picked left this time, because I went right last time. It really doesn't matter. If you're here to like clear and kill everything... Oh wait, hold on, I almost forgot this. 2 points, wow. I fall behind a bit sometimes on those. They do remind you, and there's a little flashing bit down there to remind you to put those points in, but they might want to make it a little more noticeable, or might want to be a little less forgetful, whichever the case may be. Come on, blow up all these guys. That was the other path, so I guess... No, I guess maybe the path splits here. That's what it is. I knew there was a branch, I couldn't remember where it was. Either way, whichever path you... Oh, there you go, there's the ranged ones. The shamans that lob balls of ice at you. Fairly easy to dodge them if you're a ranged class. And it's also fairly easy to lob stuff back at them if you're a ranged class. Kind of works out well for everyone. Okay, yeah, there's a few different branching paths. I'm just making a general northeast progression because I believe that's where the boss is going to be. And if not, then we'll backtrack a little. Ah, there you go. So you can see it marked in the room. I'm going to want to clear as much of the surrounding things as I can, and maybe stop attacking briefly just to get some mana back for the boss. There we go. Viloth the Corruptor. Nothing too bad, except AoE poison attack, which is, whatever. But it's... I could have sworn this is the boss that does the AoE wave. I could be thinking of a further ahead boss, however. It seems to have its own version of my ability there, so you probably don't want to stand in it, because it might get healed and it's definitely going to hurt you, so I wouldn't stand in it. Lob some poison their way, keep the ability to use a potion handy, because the bosses do a lot of damage, and they're definitely always higher level than you. Which makes sense, you don't want an easy boss. That would be silly. And there you go, got a food ration to get back that stuff. And we've got our grand spoils, which was not bad. Not bad. I don't know how overly grand the stuff is. I'm going to actually check back in town in a minute. After just sweeping up, see if there's anything right here. I'm not going to go every path, I just wanted to see if there's anything worth getting here.
Inventory is full.
Bags are full. That's a good time to go back to town. And it's simple enough. You just pour it out of here. You go back to the dude. I'm going to sell first in case he gives a tangible reward. I don't want to not have room for it. Sell. I should probably check what more of these do. Caster armor. I haven't seen one of those before. Not going to wear it because it's not as good as what I had. These should be slight upgrades for belts. Ah, darn. I would actually want one of these now, but I want to wait until I get another one of the Searing Embers to put on one of these. As it is, because I jumped the gun and I wanted that so early, it would be bad for me to try and replace my shield so far, and I'll probably get more of these before then, so I'm just going to sell it.
It's a good use.
And now we talk to this guy down here. And he's happy, and what does he give us anyway? Oh, that's what he gives us. Extra bag. When this bag fills up, things will automatically get put here. Oh, excuse me, hiccup. They do sort separately, and if you wanted, you could fill this one up with stuff and use that as, like, maybe you wanted to keep all of these little things over here instead, just for the ease of keeping them organized. However you want to go about it, it'll work. But the extra bag space is really nice, and then, to finish this off, nope, go this way. Just wanted to see if he was... Nope, seeing if he was selling the thing I was looking for. To finish it off, we talk to the head honcho who was moved to the prison because, I don't know why, he just did. So we turn in the quest, and now he gives us another, because that's how these go. Also, I hit level 10. At level 10, you can multi-class, or subclass, I guess is what they call it. You can pick another one of the 4. I picked Demolitionist last time. I think this time I'm going to pick Nightblade, just because. And now you still get your 3 skill points, but you can allocate them to both classes. So you could put 1 here, 2 here. So far, I've liked to just focus on the occultist, but it's nice to have that option. If you're like, okay, I've got some pets, and now I want to, I don't know, get some dual blades or something, you can do that. And it opens up a lot of different, like, variations on classes. Also, if you pick yours, and you're like, oh man, I don't like the way these look, you can undo it and be like, okay, maybe Soldier looks more like what I wanted. Oh, maybe no Demolitionist. So you can take a look at the tree before committing to it. Right now, what was I going to do? I was going to do 2 and another pet. I like my pet, he's a good dog. And now, you'll notice we have a few different quests. I'm going to see if there were any more around town to pick up, but I believe that was it, and if there's nothing else to pick up, probably the end of episode 2. Episode 2 feels really long for me, because I did a lot of farming. It may prove to be not quite as long on the video, but this has been episode 2. I'm going to allocate that spirit point. No, I'm going to allocate physique. This has been ViperAS. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time for episode 3 of Grim Dawn.